Hi guys, you're all welcome to this lesson. So in today's lesson, we are going to be learning how to draft a basic skirt block. So a basic skirt is a pattern made from two pattern pieces. A skirt front usually cut on the fold and a skirt back cut as a pay for a center back zip. So for this lesson, you're going to be needing these few measurements. You're going to be needing our hips measurements. We're going to be needing our waist measurement. We are also going to be needing our waist to hips measurement length and our skirt length. So let's get right into it. So for this lesson, these are the tools you're going to need. We are going to be needing our tape, our ruler, our marker pen, our scissors, and also a long ruler. So the first measurement you're going to be putting in our pattern paper is our skirt length. We like to work with our vertical measurement before we move on to the horizontal measurement. So for our skirt length is 22 inches. You may want to add 2 extra inches for the hemming allowance because you're going to be transferring this pattern straight to our fabric. Okay, so you want to add, so we are putting in all the measurements plus our hemming allowances plus our seaming allowances also. So we are drawing a line, we are connecting those dots on our skirt hem line. We want to connect the dots with the help of a ruler, okay? So the next length measurement you're going to be putting is our waist to hips line, our waist to hips length, okay? For this particular skirt, I think we are attaching it to it, so that's why you see me pulling the tape towards the hips line. So for on a normal day, your skirt to hip can be 7 to 9 inches depending on your size. Okay, so for this measurement, 45 inches for hips. Waist to skirt measurement length is 9 inches. Okay, so right now you're done with our horizontal vertical measurement. We're going to be putting in our horizontal measurement starting from our waist circumference divided by 4 plus 2 inches. You're going to be adding 2 inches for 2 to 3 inches for our sewing allowance. 1 inch is going to go to the dart and 1 inch for ease and the other 1 inch for sewing. Okay, so altogether 3 inches. So right now we're going to be connecting that point. Then the next measurement you're going to be putting in is our hips circumference. Okay, our hips measurement also divided by 4 plus 2 to 3 inches sewing allowance. So now we are connecting those lines, our waist to hip length. We're connecting those lines. So after connecting the lines, the next measurement we want to put is our M line measurement. So to get that M line measurement, you're going to subtract 1 inch from our hip line, from our hip measurement. I don't know if you got that. Subtract 1 inch because it's a pencil skirt. If it's a straight skirt without any form of pencil on the hem, you can just take from the hip line down. Okay, but because you want it penciled, so we've subtracted 1 inch from our hip measurement. Okay, hip measurement divided by 4 minus 1 inch. That is what we put in. That is what we just inserted in our M line. So the next thing we want to do is get our nipple to nipple point, which is going to serve as our dart point, which we're going to use for our dart point. Okay, we are taking in from to get your dart length, you want to minus like 2 inches, 2 to 2.5 inches from your hip length. I don't know if you got that. Okay, and I think the total length of our dart was about 5 to 5.5. So we connect the lines, and we're going to be taking out our dart legs, ½ inch on one side and ½ inch on the other side. We are now connecting the lines to our dart. Okay, and voila, we are done with our skirt pattern. Okay, we are done with our front pattern, and we are cutting it out. So now we have moved on to our back piece. We want to cut out our back skirt pattern piece. Okay, For this back skirt piece, we're gonna need our zipper allowance. I was taking 2 inches for zipper allowance. Okay, at the center back. Always remember to put your zipper, except that your skirt has a side seam, a side you want your zipper to be at the side, okay? So, but on a normal day, every regular skirt has a back zipper placement, okay? So now you're connecting the lines. You're taking, don't forget we took 2 inches. You can decide to take 1 or 1.5, depending on the type of fabric. So you're connecting our lines, and that is just it. There's nothing really much about this back piece, okay? You want to level out that uh, line there so that you know that this is your back, your zipper allowance. So you're going to be cutting out our back piece. So now we want to transfer our pattern papers to our fabric. Okay, we've already placed a folder of fabric into two. Okay, and we have placed our, we want to use a pin to keep our pattern down, or to stabilize our pattern to our fabric so it doesn't move while we are cutting it. Okay, you want to use your pins. Okay, pin your pattern paper to your fabric so when you're cutting it does not move. Okay, so now we are done pinning our pattern. We are going to go straight into the cutting process. So now we did just the same thing to the front. We did the same thing we did in the front pattern. Okay, we folded our fabric into two. Okay, and we've placed our back pattern and we are cutting it out. So now we are done with the cutting process, and we are going to be opening up our zipper allowance. Okay, you want to open it up because our back pattern is supposed to be two pieces. Okay, by the time you open up the zipper allowance, you're going to end up with two pieces, and we are giving a notch on our zipper line, so when we are placing our zip we know exactly where to place it. Okay, you can either draw a line there with a chalk, or you give it a notch. So you know where your zipper falls. We're also going to give a notch to our dart line. Okay, or a chalk, like I said before. You either use a chalk or you notch it. So now we've gone straight into the sewing process. First off, we want to join our zipper allowance. Okay, we want to give it a loose stitch for the placement of our zip. So now we are done sewing our zipper allowance. You want to open it. We moved a little bit away from that notch because that is at the notch is where you're going to be placing our zip. Okay, we moved a little bit away from it so we'll be able to place our zipper and to fall exactly on that line. So now we are going to be sewing our darts. That's where that is supposed to stop, where we drew that chalk. Don't forget you're sewing on half inch on both sides. Okay, we used our chalk to highlight that point so we don't end up sewing too much or sewing less. We are done sewing our darts. Okay, we are done sewing our darts, and this is exactly what it looks like. Okay, you're gonna also sew your darts on this other side of our skirts, just the same process.
I don't deny there's some strange evolutionary process going on, but mankind won't be destroyed. The fact that you and I are working here today is evidence of that.
So now we are done holding our sewing our darts, and the next process now is to join our skirt, to shape our skirt. Okay, so to shape our skirt, you want to put in your measurements from your waist measurement to your hips measurements and your hem measurements. Okay, so for our waist measurements, divided by 4 as usual. Then you want to put each whatever you get on the two sides. Don't forget this skirt is open into two, it's no more folded into 4. So you want to place the figure, whatever you get, on the from the center where you have that line, or you just divide your skirt measurement into 2 and put in the figure, whatever it is you get. I don't know if you got me. This skirt is opened into 2. Okay, it's no more folded into 4. So to get that our skirt measurement, you want to divide it by 4 and place it on the zipper line. If not, divide it by 2 and just put it straight up. Okay, so now we are connecting the lines. We're connecting our lines and ready to be sewn. Okay, now we are holding down our skirts with a pin. Please always work with your pins. Okay, always work with your pins. You want to pin down the two pieces together so they stay in place while you're sewing. All right, so one doesn't move and messing up the whole process. So now you're going to be sewing on that line. We are following that chalked line. As we sew, we pull out our pins. Okay, this will ensure accuracy and no mistakes. So we are following that line. You're following that line, pulling out our pins so we don't climb our pins with our needle. Okay, that is pretty much it. You want to also sew on this other line, chalked line. Alright guys, so done joining our skirt. As you can see, it's coming out beautifully well. So please check out the part 2 for the completion of this skirt. Bye.